Okay, so do we want to start over? Just
Here.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
We have a motion to approve the minutes from August meeting 2025.
Second,
August 28th.
Yeah, August 28th. Thank you.
August 20.
I can make it, yep.
All righty,
I'll second it.
thank you, it's passed, then we'll move to old business, responsibility changes for slash
So
work session.
we will have to select somebody else to represent Ptac. Moving forward. We discussed before the meeting, reasons why. So if the board want to select somebody else to represent Ptac to discuss their responsibility changes in front of council.
You know what we're talking about. Okay, Isaiah, actually, he made some great notes about it. He made a presentation. What he was gonna present to city council, so. Want to do it?
Do we have it?
I
The
think
presentation?
if I check my email, I think he said it's me.
So do we want one person, two people, so we can have more than one person at the table here, so
You're gonna
that,
have multiple
so we can
reps.
more minds the better?
What are the
How
dates?
do you want to do it?
You know what the dates are? Adam?
I would probably be, the second Tuesday in October would be the next work session, right?
Mhm.
So that would be.
Second Tuesday is the 14th of October.
Second Tuesday?
Yeah, they moved my calendar. I always do that to me now.
Yeah.
Shift everything. Yeah, it's 14th.
So it'd be on the 14th,
Yeah. it would
work
be the-
session.
It would be the 14th.
Five PM.
Yes, at least 5 PM start.
Okay. I can do it.
Okay,
I don't have my knocks teeth thing. Like I did last month.
Let me double check for you, just to make sure I have the presentation.
Do you guys want to come?
I'll come.
Okay.
Oh, hold on a second, I know. And that's on Tuesday? I've got a conflict and I know that Shay also has a conflict.
Okay.
On the second Tuesday, can you go?
Probably, yeah.
Put that on your calendar
What is it, 14th of what? October?
October.
Okay,
already.
damn.
Just, that's you.
Perfect, thank you. All right.
Right, moving along, 5-year tree compliance ordinance.
I've printed out the updated because the vested rights for the cities did change from when I initially drafted it. I guess, do you want me to read it for, okay. So essentially, the purpose of this is an ordinance to update the developments within the city to make sure that they are in accordance with whatever the tree ordinance is at the most current at the time. An ordinance amending the Beaufort Development Code to require resubmittal of expired development approvals for compliance with current tree standards, to provide that phased developments meet tree standards in effect at time of phase submittal, and to align with the city's May 2025 vested rights revisions. In May 2025, City Council approved major revisions to the Development Code, including vested rights provisions in Chapter 9 setting a 2-year vesting period for site-specific development plan approvals with annual extensions, and allowing phased development plans to vest for up to 5 years. Chapter 5 contains the city's tree conservation canopy, the TPRP specimen landmark protections and mitigation fee standards. South Carolina's Vested Rights Act authorizes the above framework and governs duration and extensions. Section 2, Chapter 5 amendment adds Section 5.1.13 plan duration, resubmittal, phase development, extensions, effective amendments to tree standards. A, the scope applies to approvals that authorize land disturbing activity, including site development permits, final site plans, final plats, subdivision approvals, and phased plan approvals. The vesting, preserved, duration, expiration, and extension of approvals are governed by Chapter 9 as amended in May of 2025 and by the South Carolina Vested Rights Act. Nothing herein shortens or eliminates vested rights. Resubmittal after expiration, when an approval's vested right, including any granted extension, expires under Chapter 9, the applicant shall resubmit the plan before further work or permits are issued. The resubmittal must comply with current Chapter 5 tree standards, including the TPRP, the canopy, specimen, landmark protections, mitigations, and fees. Previously paid mitigation fees for the same site may be credited per policy. Phase development. Approval of a master phase plan does not vest future phases beyond the vesting period allowed in Chapter 9. Each phase submitted after vesting or any extension has expired must comply with the then current Chapter 5 tree standards. Where phased vesting is granted up to 5 years, this section applies once that period lapses or for phases submitted thereafter. Extensions, applications for extension of vested rights shall be processed under Chapter 9, consistent with South Carolina Code 6-29-1530. Annual extensions, total durations as authorized. Extensions do not freeze tree standards for phases not yet submitted. Violations, resubmittals must satisfy any deferral mitigation arising from unauthorized tree removal under Chapter 5 of acceptance. The Ptac advisory role. Ptac provides non-binding recommendations on extension requests affecting tree outcomes, alternative compliance and mitigation proposals, and appeals of administrative determinations on tree standards in resubmitted or phased plans. Administration, the administrator may issue checklists and guidelines, updated surveys, TPRP content, canopy worksheets to implement this section. Section 3, Chapter 9 companion amendment, cross references, and then this is going to have the exact section numbers as part of the codification. Added the following to Chapter 9, the development review procedures, resubmittal of expired approvals. Upon expiration of vested rights for any approved listed in 5.1.13a, no further work or permits shall be issued until a resubmittal compliant with 5.1.13 is approved. Resubmittals are reviewed against Chapter 5 tree standards in effect on the date of resubmittal. The administrator shall maintain a resubmittal checklist consistent with 5.1.13h. Extensions of vested rights and tree standards. Extensions granted under this chapter do not vest tree standards for future phases beyond the vested period. Any phase submitted after vesting or extension expiration must comply with 5.1.13. The Park and Tree Advisory Commission has an advisory role on resubmittals and extensions. Ptac provides advisory recommendations to the Administrator and Planning Commission and City Council as appropriate on A, extension applications where tree protection outcomes are implicated. B, alternative compliance or mitigation proposals under 5.1.13. C, appeals of administrative determinations related to TPRPs, canopy calculations, or tree mitigation in resubmitted phased plans. Ptac's recommendations are non-binding and must be transmitted in writing within 30 days of the public meeting at which the matter is heard. Ptac has no final approval authority over site plans, plats, or permits. Section 4, severability. If any provision is held invalid, the remainder continues in effect. Section 5, effective date transition, effective upon second reading, or I guess third reading. Approvals vested under Chapter 9 as amended retain their vesting for the periods granted after expiration, including any extension, resubmittal under 5.1.13 is required. Do you have questions? Does anybody have questions?
Good work,
Hmm.
good work.
Yes, very, very good.
I guess for the record, so that way anybody who, listens and follows this essentially says that for developers, you either need to get your development going, or if your permit lapses with the city, you're gonna have to go back and resubmit your permit to make sure that it is in compliance with whatever the tree ordinance is at that time. So that way, we don't have a development that is gonna be going in. Say for example, I'm a developer and I buy a piece of property and I decide that, I'm going to sit on it. I submit my plans for the property to the city and it gets approved. But I don't execute that until, 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the road. Basically, this says that I need to resubmit my plan to make sure that my plan works with whatever the tree ordinance is, however many years it is from now.
I think this is a good idea. Okay, where does it go from here?
So I'm Nate, but I'm pretty sure that we could send this up the chain, whether we would have to send it to planning, or if we would send it directly to the city manager for approval. But I'll talk to Nate when we're done with this meeting and see what channels we have to send this to.
Okay, I think that this is a great idea and well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, deadlines are good. What's the significance of, you worked all day and night on the codes in the spring and summer too.
Yeah,
So what's the significance of this word in here? It just says, 2-year vesting period? Is that
So
some other
the-
different
yeah.
kind of plans?
yeah, so when I originally did this, the vesting period was up to 5 years, which is, I know we talked last time about why did I pick 5 years for this, is that's because at the time, at the last discussion, that's what I understood that the vesting period was. So if you, for example, Joe, you're a developer, right? You purchase property and you submit your plans to the city can't come back essentially and tell you that you have to change your plans because you've got a vested right to whatever it is, the permit process. You've got that for 5 years. Now, the city has since shortened it down to 2 years. But again, like I discussed in the last meeting, you have, as a developer, you've got to be cognizant of economic cycles. You have to get financing for certain developments. There's
Sure.
a lot that goes into it, and you can't necessarily have that done within a 2-year period. So I think it's pretty generous that we give up to 5 essentially to do what you need to do.
Plus, most tree ordinances usually are updated and amended every 5 years.
Yeah.
Along with the urban forestry management plans.
And is one of these Ps mean plan? What's TPRP?
That's the tree protection restoration plan.
Oh, yeah, I was guessing protection first and then the next, well, maybe it's this plan. That makes sense.
Just a lot easier to say.
Yeah, the TPRP is like in July when we voted to make the recommendation to increase the area around trees that are protected. That's part of it.
There's a check. Okay,
Yeah, awesome.
well done.
Do we have anybody online who has any comment or anything?
License, does that say 0?
Says 0.
Nobody.
All right.
Sorry about that.
You're good. No computer, no glasses.
I'm down and out today. What can I say?
Open your eyes, Tony. Open your eyes.
Thanks.
All right.
So,
Go ahead.
so do we need a motion to recommend?
Yeah.
Recommend this ordinance?
Motion, please.
I won't read the ordinance, it was just read to us.
Yeah,
Uh,
ordinance in question.
motion to recommend the ordinance, I'll just read the beginning. Recommend the ordinance amending the Beaufort Development Code to require resubmittal of expired development approvals for compliance with current tree standards, to provide that phase developments meet tree standards and in effect at the time of phase submittal, and to align with the city's May 2025 vested rights revisions.
Second.
All right, motion is passed. Very good. Thank you for all the work. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's much appreciated. Okay, Hermitage Road, split rail, live oak trees.
So, Barb, I know this is something that's very near and dear to you. And so they wanted me to discuss this with you, that since we are working in conjunction with the Friends of the Spanish Moss Trail, they are working with kids in parks. So there will be a future kiosk that will help and probably bring more kids onto the trail to scan QR codes and look out for things in nature. But at the intersection, we're looking at making some safety improvements. And while we were doing that, obviously, to protect the trees, is one of our number one priorities. So we are probably going to implement split rail fencing to protect the root zone of those two live oaks that are at the corner ends at the Hermitage Crossing by the Spanish Moss Trail.
Now, here's like, if this is the trail. And then, let's see, okay. Here's an oak, here's an oak. You know, even if you did like a
Triangle.
triangle, yeah, something to,
It would have to be on both sides, probably, just to be able to,
on both sides,
Yeah.
right? And then, you know, coming down past the trunk.
Yeah.
Just so people are not
parking.
able, the purposes so they cannot park on the roof flares, which happens. In fact, Shay was going down Hermitage Road the other day and sent me a picture. Did I send that to you?
I don't believe so.
Anyway, send
You
me
may
a
have
picture of
to-
somebody else.
Skip by.
You know, they
Parking
just,
median.
yeah, they just don't know. And it would be nice to not necessarily put split rails up, but just something to protect those roof flares all along there.
Well, some sort of fence, and the reason we suggest split rail is because there's already a split rail fencing that exists in the middle median to keep people taking the early right through the median. So we just want to get your thoughts on
I
that.
wish I could put spikes to protect the roof flares. Like it just,
No, I mean, there was a large investment put into preservation of those trees and trying to invigorate them.
thousands of
So,
dollars. There, as you know, or do you know that there, the two trees that are on either side of the trail on Hermitage
Mhm.
are suffering. And I think it's from parking. I mean, that's what I think.
Doesn't help.
No, it doesn't help at all.
The one seems to be taking to the treatments a little bit better than the other one. The other one still looks like it's lacking some nitrogen, the color in it.
On my side, or which one are you talking about?
The one to going to you looks better than the one,
The first one?
yeah. Just looking at it,
It would be
looking
a
at
big
the leaves.
loss. But
it's thin, the other one's thinning out a lot more too. You know, just looking at it, the way that the trees go up, it kind of looks like lion's tail right now. If you looked at it, just because of how much it's lost, in its canopy.
How old is that one?
Or I would say maybe 100, 150.
Okay.
They're
They've
well,
been there a long time.
Yeah.
So they're well over, I'd say.
And then you look at the next one going toward Reebok Road. And it looks lush and, you know.
Yeah.
Very healthy. So,
How close are the paved areas to the,
to the trees.
I would say less than 10 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say less than 10 feet.
So,
could be partial consideration for a non-permeable area as well? Kind of a perfect storm in that regard. Because I know most of Hermitage, when you drive down, it is kind of, the road is up and then the median is kind of divoted a little bit. Yeah, so it kind of channels all the water in there. So, okay.
Well, okay, when are you gonna do this?
It's probably, so I know we just met with the Friends of the Spanish Moss Trail, and there's some projects that we're looking at on the Spanish Moss Trail right now. So once we get everything going, handing things over to the new contractors, we'll probably look into starting that rather soon. As soon as we get everything settled, because we have some things that we have to button up before we hand the right away over to a new contractor.
Well,
So-
how long?
October 1st.
Oh.
So we're still,
Next week?
yeah, so we're putting
Very
in
good.
some things up Sunday next Wednesday.
Or in the hurricane, right?
Yeah, no, God. Knock on wood.
I know.
But is that something that Ptac's okay with, the slow rail fencing going up? And I'm fine with doing triangles on both sides
Oh,
to give it, enough space to protect the root system, especially the root layers. But if I can keep it, kind of away from underneath the canopy as well, that's kind of our goal. So I know that's something you wanted.
okay.
I think it's something needed. Also, a new sign on that section, on, that one section
Yeah,
of Hermitage saying, don't park in the median. There's one on the other sections of Hermitage, but that one, if you could put it right there, right there at the beginning,
mhm,
at the head,
yeah.
then it would be very visible and just trying to save those trees. So, all right, thank you. New business.
Well, I know, Raul Dominguez was planning on being here. I don't know if he got caught up, but there was a development that he wanted to speak to you about, but I would rather him talk to you about that because it's not something I am involved in. It's a planning, development project, I believe you want to discuss about the waterfront park and the drainage.
Right.
So if he's not here to attend, I don't want to speak on his behalf.
Okay,
And that's the subject, the waterfront park?
Yeah, I believe there is a tree in the waterfront park that,
needs
gonna have
be
to go.
removed.
yeah,
Oh,
Right. I should hope.
I think I already know which one.
I
No
believe,
question.
yeah, I believe it's the Charles Street extension going into the waterfront park.
Should hope they can do what they need to do though.
It's too big.
The tree's too big.
I believe it's causing a lot of damage to the drainage and the roadways.
I can't envision which tree that is.
Big one.
Charles Street. Is it the big live oak that they decorate for Christmas?
No.
No, not that tree.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's
in
not a
between
live oak.
the horse carriage and what's on the corner? Down there. Horse carriage or now the golf cart court.
Is it in the median?
So once you come in and you come around that bend where the marina. The marina's in red, sorry about
the
that.
tree fell over.
Yeah, that's in the Marina Store parking lot. It's right there in the middle meeting. And I believe it's allowed.
So when you come down like the down Charles Street and you're there at the light and they've got like the little gem shop there and everything. And then they've got the, what is that, a tour thing, like golf cart tour thing on the other side of the street? And there's the little driveway that goes down and curves to the right
Yes,
into the marina.
Mhm.
It's the tree in the middle of that median.
that's a shame. But it's necessary. It's another example of putting a tree that grows too big with too big a root system into a median, right?
Yeah, because I know that one is pretty much concreted all the way around for
Yeah.
tens of feet around it.
That's a shame. All right,
So
anything
what's your
else
thoughts on that?
about removing it? I mean, if we have to, I don't want to. But if
We'll probably
we
have to hear from Raul,
Yeah.
figure out what all the.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a loss. So,
Is there any plan, I guess the question would be, is there any idea of if there's gonna be anything that goes back in its place, or is it just gonna be a straight removal?
As of right now, I wouldn't know. You would have more information on that than I would.
Cause I was gonna say, we might not be able to do a live oak, but a nice understory tree perhaps, something that not invasive roots, doesn't require a lot of water.
Yeah.
Something, so that way, you're not just taking
Yeah.
something out.
I was in another city and they had medians in the middle of the highway with what I thought it was. I thought it was oak trees that they had planted.
Yeah.
And I know that over in Bluffton, on the Bluffton Parkway, it's not live oaks, it's cathedral oaks things they had planted.
Yeah.
And they're quite mature. And they look really, really good.
That's what's here on Boundary.
Yeah.
Right, along the side though, not in the middle. Is that correct, or is there some in the middle?
Everything in the middle and the sides are cathedral live oaks.
Anyway,
The
they
only thing
look
is-
really good in Bluffton, after all these years.
But we had issues, there was a disease that was attacking the cathedral live oaks. So the closest cultivar of that is the high rise. So it still grows in the same vase pyramidal shape that
Mhm.
the branches go up and then out. So it avoids that early pruning to keep them away from the traffic. So those are the only two options really that you could put there. We wouldn't want to plant an actual true southern live oak in the middle. So,
Interesting.
because then the trees would be doing all the trimming for us. So very, very difficult. Live oaks are, they need their space.
All right, so we know what to expect next time we hear from Earl. Okay.
What is the status of planting the 2 Japanese maples now going into October?
So I just got the reminder, Nathan had sent over all the information to Councilman Scaletti. And I believe they are working on purchasing a tree, and then as soon as they do that, I think they're kind of still waiting. Last time I heard, they're waiting for a date to hold the ceremony. For the class for them to set everything up and plant them.
Nice.
So it's still moving, it's still in process, but I do believe also they're waiting for the cooler weather. You know, September is still iffy. 1 week it felt like fall, and then next week it's back to feel like it's 100 degrees.
Probably won't happen until November.
Yeah, I would say end of October, early November is probably the earliest we should start.
The, the trees along Highway 21 that my garden club had planted, they look really good now
On the Spanish Mountain Trail.
on the Spanish Mountain
Yeah.
Trail. So Palmetto Garden Club was looking for another section to plant trees, if you can think of anything.
On the Spanish Mountain Trail, I wouldn't,
Not, doesn't have to be
Yeah.
there, it can be, somewhere else. If you come across a thought.
Yeah.
Let me know.
we can look into it. Spanish Mountain Trail right now, it's tricky because Dominion obviously has the one side with their power lines, and they are holding very strict that they do not want anything underneath the power lines, even understory trees. And then on the other
Even
side,
understory.
yeah. Just because I believe they want to avoid hacking the tree, keeping it from growing into the power lines.
Well, it depends on what I would say when it comes to Dominion, it kind of depends on whether or not they've replaced the power poles like they're supposed to. They're going through and replacing all the wooden power poles with the metal
Right,
ones.
very slowly.
And then on the other side, I believe from a certain section down, it's Beaver Jasper. So there's an issue right now with that, because all that would be encroachment permits, and then they have the final say to say yes or no, what they want in their easements. So Spanish Moss Trail is kind of tricky right now. But I can keep my eye out on other properties within the city that might need it,
Okay,
especially maybe if Southside Summit development.
okay, thanks.
All right.
All right, anything else?
Yes, do we know, the trees along Prince Street between West and Scott downtown? Let me pull up a map here.
Is it the streetscape? No.
Well, so here's the thing, is you've got the road, and then you've got this, like, I wanna say maybe 10 foot, no, call it 15, 20 feet almost. And there are trees planted, and then there's a sidewalk, and it's then the parking lot for the Beaufort Baptist Church.
The big grassy park.
Yeah, the big grassy park area over there,
South side of the road. What side of the trees on?
south side
Okay.
of the road. Let me go to navigation, Google Maps, and so this is where. Prince Street here. Those trees there.
Oh, okay.
Whose are those?
So that was put into, that was a DOT encroachment permit. I believe it was the Old Commons neighborhood that did that together. There is a rock there, I believe, that has a plaque on it. A little while back, they did approach us. They asked me to do a design for them to implement some new benches, maybe some flower beds around there, and it did not get approved for DOT. So that is DOT's right away, but it was Old Commons neighborhood.
Do we have any say over
So-
anything?
We still maintain DOT's right away. So
Okay.
if the trees need to be pruned or anything, if they're becoming invasive into the right of way, we still have to maintain the clearance levels.
Okay, because the house that is right across from the street from it is under construction. And all of the contractors are parking in around the trees, up against the trees. They're parking the trailers on next to the trees to the point where pretty much there is no grass that is growing on that side and almost all the roots are completely exposed on that side. So I noticed that the other day when I drove by. So,
We can definitely look into it.
yeah, because I didn't know if it was church property or if it was City of Beaufort or who exactly had jurisdiction over it because but then I realized that the sidewalk was pretty far up into not the normal sidewalk right off the road. It was probably about 20 feet up. And so usually when there's a sidewalk that far up, we get the whole access there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's SCDOT's right away, but we're still in agreement to help maintain the right of ways.
Okay.
So we can definitely look into it.
Okay,
Awesome.
anything else?
Got anything, Joe?
So, yeah, there's lots of plans out there. I stumbled on something that's the 2009 comp plan for the city mentions some tree things and it's a long document. It's 280 pages, but there's the chapter on natural resources says that they described it as a region project, that the tree canopy studies and all that, the percentages and GPS and this and that. They actually have recommended percentages in there for tree canopy. But I'm not real familiar with it. There's something called the Forestry Association or something. I'm butchering the name, but it was kind of interesting. But yeah, from 2000, so yeah, 25 people were contributed to that plan, or 30 people, probably more. And then yeah, it's an interesting document.
Who generated the document?
So that was, variety of people, the planning director, somebody, somebody from Port Royal, a whole bunch of people. The list of names is right in the beginning of the document.
Was it like part of the municipal development, like the overarching?
It's a comprehensive plan.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
2009.
Okay.
Would you be able to send that to us?
Yeah, it's online.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do that. And I was looking for something else and I stumbled onto it. And then I checked out they had some transportation stuff in there. They had this road on it. I forgot about this road. It's quite interesting. So they had this road in there that would go from like almost Grace Hill, cut through Laurel Bay Road, kind of like a west, call it like maybe a western bypass.
Yeah.
And they would come out on Paris Island. I think it was Savannah Highway, actually. But yeah, it's a wild looking road. It was, because, that was back then. And, of course, they never really built that road, but it was, I was looking for biking stuff. So I saw that road and they have all kind of biking stuff, routes, and that was in the different chapter. But, yeah, so they're protecting the trees and they had in there that we've been a Tree City USA since 1990. And, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And so it was in there, so I said, well, let me look at some other stuff in here, and so and I wasn't sure what the exact year was off the top of my head. Yeah, so, yeah.
Ptac been around?
I wasn't on Ptac then.
It depends, I would have to look, but I know Tree City USA's requirements, it depends on whenever they updated it. Because
Yeah.
one of the requirements was that you have.
That you have a
report.
Ptac, right?
Speaking of that, to add new business, we should start planning our annual Arbor Day celebration.
Okay.
Trees and locations. That way, because when we get into our next meeting, we'll be at the end of October. And at least we should have everything squared away.
Because we're rolling November and December in together.
So we'll have, I think usually what happens, because ours always falls the week of Thanksgiving,
Mhm.
is we usually push it to the Thursday before.
Okay.
So I'll have to double check with Tracy, but that would be the one meeting that we, and then our December meeting would be our Arbor Day celebration, which would be first Friday of December.
Thanksgiving is on the 27th, so it's late this year, so that would push the meeting back to the 20th for Thanksgiving.
Which helps, but I would love to have
Locations.
a location and a tree or trees selected by the October. That way we can start looking at the nurseries, and then pretty much our November meeting is, hey, we have everything squared away. You know,
Notwithstanding the development taking place at Southside Park, or, you know, despite that, do you have another place in mind?
I would say the only two places I would wait is Southside, obviously, because we're still multi-phases going into that, and then also maybe the development of what's going to be the first Volunteers Park along Boundary Street where Battery Stacks is. Just because that's already in the works to be developed. I would look through the parks in Pigeon Point. Pigeon Point always could use some trees, but also, you know, maybe we can talk with Linda and see if there's some parks in the downtown where, even if it's not a live oak, maybe if we can plant an understory tree like we're trying to do at Cuthbert. There's always places that can use
Yeah.
some
understood.
trees.
Pocket Park on Rebo Road,
So,
just a couple of them. One by the fire station and one.
Calvin Thomas is right across,
Calvin
and
Thomas.
then Wilson
Yeah.
Park.
Wilson Park.
Wilson Park could be a location as well.
Yeah, especially for an understory. I know they got a pretty good canopy.
So just some ideas. I'd say no to Duck Pond, because Duck Pond's probably had 5 or 6 trees planted in the last couple. Christensen Park, I would say no, but
Where's Christensen?
Christensen is right before you get to the Pigeon Point.
Yeah, that's past Pigeon Point. Right.
That was my first Arbor Day celebration, and I just had to plant 7 trees.
We're gonna have,
Okay.
we've got to pause for a minute because we don't have quorum right now. Okay, now we're good.
But yeah, so I actually like that one, Calvin Thomas. I like Wilson Park the most.
I was gonna say Wilson would be a good one for like a, for like an understory specimen.
Yeah.
Cause it's pretty much the only openings it would have is eastern facing. It gets shaded by, you know, the worst of the sun
Yeah.
in the midday, and then it gets barely anything in the evening, so it'd be a good one for an understory. So, cause I noticed it's kind of,
Japanese maple.
It's right off the bluff.
Yeah.
cause I know when you look at it, it's kind of like a tunnel.
Yeah.
Goes straight out to the mark, which is great, but you know, it put some understory in there.
Want to invite some people in. Okay, so we can
Have
discuss that.
some good, lot of interest to it. Okay.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, other than some of the things that will look for time and really is. And then obviously our seasonal change with the annuals.
All right.
Okay, any public comment?
We
Look
have
like
one,
Shay's here.
we have one member of the public, but they do not have their hand raised.
Hi, Shay.
I see a Q and A
It's-
there.
Yeah,
Oh, there's,
Yeah,
that's not. What about,
On trust land.
open land trust property. In
We-
the city of Beaufort for the placement of an understory.
we could contact them and then see if that would be a possibility. I can get the answer to you before.
Does that person have any particular place in mind?
That's Shay.
Oh, is that Shay?
Yeah, she-
That's Shay.
member of the
Shay's
board, yeah.
asking that?
oh, let me give her mic privileges. This isn't just an ordinary member of the public. Alright,
Well, it says Esmical, so I'm gonna assume that's who it is.
I'm sure it probably is.
Shay, can you hear us?
So maybe she's not talking.
Okay,
I tried.
I'll ask her.
Not much more I can do.
But yeah, that could be, that could be
It's an
something.
idea, yeah.
We've done it before in certain areas. So I can reach out and see if there's any areas that they'd like to maybe work with us.
Did you hear anything further about any kind of buffer that is gonna be planted? Where all those, across from Lowe's?
Yeah.
Have you heard anything further?
That'd be a question for what the planning department. Would you be able to find out?
Sure, sounds like there's a lot of them. Big complex. All right, anything else?
That's why we have.
All right, motion to adjourn our meeting.
Motion.
Board adjourned.
Okay,
right.
adjourned.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
I got somebody waiting to chop, so I gotta cut out.
For trees that garden clubs would like to plant, but not on the Spanish Moss Trails.
Yeah, I brought that up.
Not on the Spanish Monster.
Right.
Garden club, you're like, all right.
Right.
Y'all take care.